All right, next up. Questions being raised about the cognitive abilities of two Democratic senators. First, 89-year-old Dianne Feinstein. She returned to the Senate last week after spending about 3 months away while recovering from a case of the shingles. But when a reporter asked her, when she was in a wheelchair, what the response from her colleagues has been like since her return to work, she said, quote, "No, I haven't been gone. You should follow the I haven't been gone. I've been working." She went on to say, "I've been here. I've been voting. Please, you either know or don't know." So, of course, she missed 60 of 82 votes in the Senate. And then there's Senator John Fetterman, who missed 6 weeks while receiving treatment for clinical depression. Here he is speaking during hearings on the failure of the Silicon Valley Bank.
I mean, and they also realize is that now they have a guaranteed way to be saved by no matter how, you know. So it's you know, isn't it appropriate that this kind of control should be more stricter?
Morgan, is it ageist or ableist, a word I just learned recently, ableist?
You just learned that recently?
I did. I did not know the word ableist.
We can always learn.
Yeah. No, I just learned it in context of John Fetterman. I had never learned, and I got accused of being ableist. I had to look it up. And is it ageist and ableist to be asking these questions about these two?
Please.
So we have two different things going on from my perspective. Dianne Feinstein is clearly having serious cognitive memory issues. One has to question your ability to manage the type of information and level of information that's coming at you as a U.S. Senator with those types of struggles.
All right, so I'm not going to get in trouble for that one.
I'm not here to judge you. I'm just trying to give information.
But it's going to be the left. It's going to be the left who's going to come after me.
I don't know. But in terms of Fetterman, I will say that, one, the people of Pennsylvania were aware that he had suffered a stroke before he was elected. They are aware that he was having difficulty communicating before he was elected, and they sent him to the United States Senate, and it is still fairly early in that recovery. And we haven't seen evidence, as far as I'm aware, of the cognitive decline so much as your ability to express yourself, right? So that's different. But overall, I do think, and especially when we're looking at Dianne Feinstein in a position to approve judicial nominations, we are nearing towards the second half or the end of President Biden's term. We need somebody that's in there that's able to get through some of these nominations so that we have Democrats in the judiciary.
I'm sorry. Fumbling, bumbling, stumbling. If you're in Pennsylvania and you voted for that guy, I hope you're happy with your candidate, because the guy is, I mean, what was that? That was supposed to be a question. I watched that whole thing. It went on from there. And Dianne Feinstein, you got to know when to hang it up. You know, I'm sorry, but she's not serving a purpose anymore in the Senate. She's very old, very frail. She's lost a lot of her cognitive abilities, apparently, and she needs to be home resting and recovering from her illness and not being wheeled around and missing 60 out of 82 votes.
Look, I think it's sad that we're even having to have this conversation. I think Dianne Feinstein, whatever you think about her politics, I think is somebody who has acquitted herself well as a public servant. You look at what happened here with John Fetterman, I think that it's disheartening. We have reached a point in society, and rightfully so, where people with disabilities no longer have to feel as if they're disqualified for service. But I think the question has to be asked, was Fetterman rushed back too soon? And when he has demonstrated the inability to have had the time to have the recovery period that would be required, why haven't Democrats suggested, perhaps, that he step down, that there is a Democrat who is there in the governor's mansion who would appoint a Democrat? And I think the answer to that question is because, once again, they're not doing what's best for John Fetterman or his family or the voters in Pennsylvania. They're more concerned with the possibility they could lose 2 Senate seats at once in a special election.
And they would get accused of being ableist. No, I mean, that's a reality.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is why I never like covering politics, because I just think there's so much nonsense going on.
Look, first of all, yes, was he perfectly articulating his positions? No. But was he actually on point with what the topic was? Yes. And his overall point, interpreted through how he was communicating it, is aligned with what the Democratic strategy is in, for example, taking on Silicon Valley Bank. And let's be clear, there are a lot of people in the United States Senate that, with all of their abilities fully in control, without having suffered any illnesses, that I seriously question how they perform in hearings and their understanding of the material.
I just think the reality is we have no idea what his thoughts are on any issue due to the lack of communication. I think there also has been a lack of transparency in some ways. Before he actually had himself sending went to the hospital and all that stuff. It came out.
On both their parts, lack of transparency.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.